Pancake, everyone. Today we're going to talk about why a mail ship is carrying artwork worth $5 million. We'll also compare whether it's bigger than a ship for transporting people or liquefied gas. And we'll learn about the container ship that holds the record for transporting the largest number of containers. Additionally, we'll explore the unexpected entertainment options you can find on a cruise ship. We'll also share with you a list of the largest ships in history, and soon you'll find out what the world's most expensive traffic jam has to do with all of this. So the first item on our list is a mail ship that houses works of art from half the world. Various artists from 128 countries contributed to assembling this marvel. A mail ship that's longer than the Eiffel Tower is tall. A mail ship that has been visited by monarchs, prime ministers, and presidents. The Queen Mary II. In fact, the Queen Mary II is a cruise liner that has received the honorary title of Royal Mail Ship for its high speed. As you may already know, not everyone likes to fly. For those people who are forced to travel from the UK to America, the Queen Mary II can be a lifesaver and an exciting adventure. Aside from its luxurious environment, the liner boasts entire streets of bars, a casino, and its very own theater. While you're comfortably cruising over the Atlantic Ocean, you can even visit the world's only planetarium on a ship. Not bad for a mail ship, eh? And if a few weeks on this floating city isn't enough for you, the Queen Mary II embarks on a 3.5-month circumnavigation each year. During this trip, you can see the Suez Canal, Seville, Athens, Haifa, Petra, Singapore, Hong Kong, and several cities in Australia. Let's be honest, some of today's participants will never be able to see so many ports. So what about the competition between passenger ships and gas carriers? The largest liquefied gas carrier is a Q-Max tanker named after the wife of the Emir of Qatar. The tanker, called Mozah, is 345 meters long, which is approximately equivalent to the length of 3 football fields. It is so huge that it cannot enter the Panama Canal. However, it can transport 266,000 cubic meters of natural gas at once, and just 1 cubic meter of gas can heat up around 30 liters of water. Now you might ask, can a passenger ship surpass such a behemoth in size? Why not? If you thought the Queen Mary II was a floating city, then the Allure of the Seas will make you forget about all of the wonders of the Queen. After all, the Allure is even longer, at a whopping 362 meters. Also, it can carry 3 times as many passengers without sacrificing comfort. It may not have a planetarium, but it does have the world's first Starbucks at sea, as well as an ice skating rink with its own ice shows, towers and diving boards for jumping into the water, a zipline, and everything for surfing and rock climbing. Not to mention the usual pools, bars, and spa salons. It is so large that the authors of the description of the areas for children and youth use the word district. And we're only scratching the surface here, because there are even larger passenger ships, albeit only by a few centimeters, but still. The largest cruise ship in 2023 is the Wonder of the Seas, which surpassed its classmate, the Symphony of the Seas, in the size race among passenger ships. It can carry almost 7,000 passengers at once, plus over 2,000 crew members, and if we start listing what it has on board, you probably won't be surprised. All the same bars, restaurants, water parks, basketball courts, rock climbing walls, and a theater. Okay, well, that's pretty typical, but what about a park? Just in case passengers get tired of the endless beauty of the sea, the Wonder of the Seas has a truly huge park with 10,000 plants. Okay, well, the fun and games are over with the cruise ships. It's time to get serious. And if some of the previous ships couldn't enter certain canals, now we're going to tell you about an ore carrier that can only enter a few ports on the planet. You can only imagine what a giant it must be. 362 meters long, that's more than the height of the Eiffel Tower, and its draft, which is how deep the ship sits in the water, is 23 meters, the depth of a pretty good-sized lake. That's how the Ore Brasil makes it onto the list of the largest ships. But size is not its only merit. For example, in 2011, Ore Brasil, formerly known as Vale Brasil, received the Clean Ship Award for being the most efficient ship in terms of size and fuel consumption per day of travel. And if you've been wondering this whole time about one question, where would the Titanic rank on the list of the largest ships if it hadn't sunk? Then we have an answer for you. A little comparison. The first ship on the list is the cruise liner Queen Mary II, which is 345 meters long. and it is literally last on this list. So how long was the Titanic? Just like the Queen Mary II, it was a wonder of its time, built for traveling over the ocean in comfort, if you were a first-class passenger. Well, the Titanic with its 269 meters wouldn't even make the top 20. Progress doesn't stand still, and neither do we. Let's continue with not one, but an entire family consisting of 4 ships: TI Oceania, TI Africa, TI Asia, TI Europe, all united under the common name TI class. Each giant is 380 meters long. They were originally built for transporting oil, but over time TI Africa and TI Asia were converted. They now serve as floating storage units for a marine field near Qatar. One of them even became a TV star. The Discovery Channel dedicated an entire episode of its show Super Ships to the launch of this giant tanker. However, at the time of construction and filming, the ship had a different name. So you can find the series under the title Launch of the Leviathan, Hellespont, Fairfax. Okay, so far we've been looking at ships for entertainment and for transporting various raw materials, introducing a shipbuilder called the Pioneering Spirit. The innovative Spirit is used for dismantling, transporting, and assembling drilling platforms in the sea. It's also used for tasks of exceptional difficulty, such as laying the well-known gas pipelines Turkish Stream and Nord Stream 2. With its length of 382 meters and width of 124 meters, the Pioneering Spirit is considered the largest vessel in its class. And another star, but this time not of television, but of the Royal Mint of Denmark. It was the container ship Emma Maersk that was honored with a coin minted with a value of 20 krones. Yes, we will discuss larger container ships later, but at the time of its construction, Emma Maersk was the largest in the world. Due to its length of almost 397 meters and width of just over 63 meters, this container ship cannot enter the Panama Canal. Or maybe those making the decision simply heard something about Emma's bad reputation? A very large fire occurred on the ship during construction, and in 2013 the engine failed right in the Suez Canal, though control of the container ship was restored quickly enough. In light of the new European trends aimed at protecting the environment, Emma is criticized for running on sulfur fuel. Now we know you've been waiting for this. It's time for the story of the most expensive traffic jam in the world. Perhaps you remember how the Suez Canal was blocked for almost a week in March of 2021. The global economy was losing almost $10 billion a day just from idle ships. And since oil is transported through the Suez Canal, its price almost doubled that week. It should be said that the traffic jam was not the only reason for this price increase, but let's not get sidetracked. Let's get back to the blocking off of the Suez Canal, or rather its perpetrator, one of the world's most massive container ships, the Ever Given. At a length of 4 football fields, 400 meters, Ever Given definitely made its mark in the history of shipping, and not only for its size. The incident with the blocking off of the Suez Canal due to the accident was definitely not the only one of its kind, but this time the jam was the longest, and that's a fact. Do you still remember our acquaintance Emma? Well, she has brothers, but they're not just any brothers. They're younger, and they're at the top of their game. Triple E is a family of very large container ships. At the time of their launch with a length of 399.2 meters, they were the biggest of the big. But as usual, they were overtaken. We'll get to that in a bit. What's behind the name Triple E? It embodies the principles that specialists and customers followed when designing this series of container ships: economy, energy efficiency, and environmental friendliness. Indeed, Triple E ships are about 3 meters wider and 4 meters longer than their older sister Emma, and they carry over 2,500 more containers. This makes them the most efficient ships in terms of the ratio of cost and cargo volume. Like Emma, their 59-meter width prevents them from passing through the Panama Canal, but they can easily navigate the Suez Canal. The Titan among Titans, the one that beat all other container ships in the race, Ever Ace. TV towers are rarely built over 400 meters high, but that's the length of this ship. And now we've reached the record. The previous champion container ship, HMM Algeciras, could hold 1,198 containers. Ever Ace, with a small difference in size, due to the expansion of the bow of the ship, can accommodate 28 more containers. And this is with certain restrictions imposed upon ships in this industry. You know, so they can pass through certain canals. Wait, that's not it? Yeah, this isn't even the biggest ship in the world. It's merely the biggest container ship. So allow us to torture you a little bit more and tell you about another record holder in its category. It is very unconventional, we promise. Now, compared to previous entries on this list, the TûRanor PlanetSolar could be considered a little one. But for its type of solar-powered ship, this vessel is a true giant, measuring 31 meters in length and a whopping 15 meters in width. The boat is equipped with 38,000 solar panels for its 2 electric motors and 2 batteries, which along with its original design allow it to reach a speed of 19 kilometers per hour. It took the TûRanor 584 days to circumnavigate the globe at this speed, while the Queen Mary II can do the same in just 104 days for comparison. Here's an interesting fact for you. The largest solar-powered ship was named TûRanor, which is a reference to The Lord of the Rings, where TûRanor means solar light. However, in 2015, the boat was renamed Race for Water, which is the name of the foundation that currently manages it. And now what we have all been waiting for, the largest ship in human history. Not a small town for 9,000 people with parks and theaters, not a long machine causing traffic jams and economic losses. This is a ship only the Lego model of which is 5 meters long. And that's just the Lego model. This is an actual factory that has been shaped like a ship. But why not a ship? Well, in reality, the shell Prelude cannot move on its own. For this, it needs other ships. But this, of course, does not diminish its merits. 488 meters long, 74 meters wide, this is a proper gas extracting and processing plant that can be transported from one deposit to another. The shell Prelude was designed specifically to work in the complicated cyclone zones. It can withstand the strongest hurricanes and is truly unsinkable, unlike your Titanic. Gas is extracted on this floating platform and liquefied on board for further shipment and transportation, without even leaving the cash register, so to speak. But why make it so complicated? Shell and its colleagues were allowed to develop a gas field near the coast of Australia, but building a processing plant on the coast was prohibited. In desperation, they turned to the South Korean shipbuilding company Technip Samsung and commissioned a true wonder of technology. One that potentially allows gas companies to consider offshore deposits that were previously considered inaccessible. Just imagine, the largest creature on the planet is the blue whale. The length of adult specimens is 30 meters. That's 30, not 300, and certainly not almost 500 meters. And if people say they don't want to see whales on land, then these man-made creations belong exclusively in the ocean. And how many more sunken or scrapped ships are there that we can talk about? Make sure to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and of course, don't forget to like the video. And if you're still interested in hearing about more ships, let us know in the comments. And that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching. We wish you a good mood and a fair wind. See you soon. Pancake, everyone.